Welcome back to Don't Open That Door. Come along with our triumvirate of terror as we descend into darkness, hurtle into horror, and plunge into peril. If you want to spend Halloween with your favorite podcasters, you're in the right place. I'm Justin, and I'm still rocking out to Evanescence.
I'm Nico, and I feel like I very rarely get this opportunity to take advantage of it, so I am once again 1738!
Arr.
What's this?
Well, how
Oh,
do pirates
shit.
know that they are pirates?
Oh, how do they?
They think, therefore they are. And
Oh,
I
shit!
am Dan, and I think that I am a pirate.
Motherfucker over here like he's Descartes!
Well, if you remember, we've had Dracula Nico and Trini Claus on, and now on the podcast, it sounds to me like we've got Peg Leg Dan, the notorious sailor of the 8 seas.
I, terror of the 8 seas.
Well,
Come to
Dan, I
get
gotta
some
tell you.
booty.
Oh, no. And he's gonna find it, dear listener.
Well, moving aside from that, this is a very special episode. First and foremost, it is our Halloween release. This is coming out the day before Halloween, but it's a big deal. Thank y'all for rocking with us once again. Another October month of frights and delights, of freaks and can't say skeets, so
Geeks.
beats,
Wow.
geeks, all the above. And
Freaks and scary weeks?
that sounds better than what I said, but we'll keep it all.
And frightful peaks?
Well, in case you're a latecomer to this month, Dan, what is the theme of the movies and films we're reviewing for the month? What are we on right now?
Well, we are on some numerology shit.
Uh-huh.
All the movies we have watched thus far in the October month have had numbers in their names. And this movie too, does have numbers. This one, in fact, is extra number because it is Halloween. This movie we watched today is 1031.
You're right. And this is a horror anthology, so we'll be taking these stories one by one. And the first, dear listener, is The Old Hag, directed by Justin, no relation, M. Seaman. So, we open with a
I
quick
wonder which
scene.
sea he sailed. He's a seaman.
I have not sailed that sea yet.
So, we open with a quick scene with Malvolia, who's the host of a Halloween movie marathon. And she tells us that we've got 5 tales of terror to dive into. So we have 2 guys, Kevin and Tyler, and they're interviewing with the owner of an inn in the hopes of being selected to film a commercial. The innkeeper of the bed and breakfast says they have the job and asks if they can start immediately. It being Halloween night and all, Kevin and Tyler are hesitant, but the innkeeper says that she can pay in advance. That's not really such a big deal to me, but it's a big deal to them. So they agree to take the job. Scary stuff starts happening though, and Tyler keeps seeing a really creepy old woman, like decrepit, like a corpse or a ghoul almost. The innkeeper tells the pair about the story of an old hag that supposedly attacks people in their sleep, but Kevin doesn't believe in the stories and says, "Hey man, we can stay for the night." So they do. But just as they do, the old hag strikes, killing both of them. This could have been avoided. The story ends with the innkeeper apologizing, saying that this is the only way the hag would let her rest. And that is the end of that story. But now to tell you another tale of misery and woe is Dan, the pirate, Sail the Seas.
Well, next up is the movie Trespassers, directed by Zane Hirschberger. So with this one, we start with a couple, Stephanie and Jeff, and they are walking off of a plank. Out of a lame movie. Jeff wants to call it a night, but Stephanie has something else in mind. She drives Jeff out to an old house, where she tells him the story of a strange family that used to live there, but were driven out. A scarecrow appeared on the property, and it spawned a series of events that led a man to kill his whole family. And now nobody lives there anymore. I wonder why. Stephanie wants to investigate the scarecrow. and Jeff, led by the power of booty, follows. Stephanie cuts down the scarecrow, but it's a corpse demon and is also alive.
Oh,
and
no!
bites her. Jeff grabs an axe and kills the scarecrow, but finds that Stephanie is infected, so he kills her too and burns the bodies. Unfortunately for Jeff, though, the strange family is still around, and they catch him and turn him into the next scarecrow. Ooh.
Oof.
Well, I'm already shivering in me timbers, but we
Nice.
gotta keep going. So, Nico, what we got next?
Next up is Killing the Dance, directed by John William Holt. This story deals with a girl named Ashley, unfortunately not the one from the Resident Evil 4 remake. You see, last Halloween, her father ran away, and this year, she also plans to escape her overbearing mother. She takes her little brother to the local roller skating rink where she works and starts working her last shift. Unfortunately for everyone in the roller rink, a mysterious person dressed up as a cowboy shows up and pulls a razor and starts killing everyone. Ashley's ex-boyfriend sacrifices himself to try and save her, but he is also killed. Finally, the killer is revealed to be Ashley's mother, who wants to stop her from leaving. There's a twist in the plot, though. You see, Ashley's younger brother has a monstrous appearance, and he's also an Esper, which is a person with psychic powers and also the name for the, summons in Final Fantasy VI, which you should play. So he uses telekinesis to kill his moms, just out of nowhere, because he can do that as an Esper. It's kind of nuts.
Well, that one really blew my mind. Wink, wink. You see, he explodes her head. That's how he kills her. But I've got the yearning for adventure. Set your sails, Pirate Dan, and tell me about the next one.
Welcome aboard, Justin. The next movie is The Halloween Blizzard of 91, the year I was born. Directed by Brett DeYager, no relation to Aaron.
Oh,
So, it is Halloween 1991, and a crazy blizzard has basically canceled trick-or-treating. Trick-or-treating, that is. We got a Katie, her husband, her sister, and her 2 kids having a pretty quiet night on Halloween. They are visited by some weird trick-or-treaters who plunder some candy and then leave. Unfortunately for the family, the kids show up again, and this time Katie has no candy, so the evil children kill that wench. Meanwhile, Santa Claus shows up, because why the fuck not?
fuck.
And he's tired of Halloween corrupting the good little children. So, he takes one of the kids and leaves, just like that. The evil trick-or-treaters then take the remaining child and send the father to Davy Jones' locker.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
We will talk more. Don't worry about it. But, Nico, you have a unique honor. For once, you're going to wrap things up today. So,
Oh, geez.
why don't you take this last one?
I do not want to be adjacent to that part of your lore, Justin. How dare you plague me with this terrible thing you have unleashed upon me? But regardless, the last one is the Samhain slasher, which they say in the movie as Samhain, just so you know what I'm talking about when I say it, in case you're not already hip to the lingo. The Samhain slasher is directed by Rocky Gray, and we're going to come back to that, don't you worry. Okay, so we open with a report that the Samhain slasher has broken out of prison and is on the loose. Mary is looking to have a good Halloween night, so she goes over to her friend Bella's, where there's a major rager going down. Things are chill, until Bella decides to play some Ouija board shit and makes contact with a spirit. Then she leaves. The party ends, and the Samhain slasher appears, killing Bella, Bella's mom, and a partygoer. Can you tell what this is inspired by? The next day, Mary's dad wakes up after having a dream that Mary was possessed by a demon, and he is killed by the Samhain slasher. The movie then ends with Malvolia saying that this is all the scary stories she has for now.
You
gotta say it,
missed one
Nico.
critical part.
You missed one very
Nico.
critical part.
I did.
You must say it.
You must say it.
The end.
Yes.
There you go. So we got a lot to talk through and not a lot of substance. So generally speaking, how do we feel that these movies looked? I'm going to say it's very clearly some indie work. For the most part, I liked how it looked. I didn't think anything was especially egregious. And I thought it was good, passable, competent. What'd you think, Pirate Dan?
Well, you see, lad, I thought it was okay. The visuals, like you said, were definitely indie. There were some interesting camera angles, but it was okay. Given the low budget of the film, they ran out of booty early on, I think. It was well done.
Sometimes without
Okay.
booty, it's hard to keep going.
It is. Booty is not unlimited. Booty don't grow on trees.
That it does not.
Imagine a world.
Comrade in Arms Nico, what say you about the way this looks?
I agree for the most part. I have two sort of qualms in particular. One, or maybe not even qualms, but just there are points where it's like, yo, we can very clearly tell that there were a couple Party City masks in there. Like, there was one where I forget which one it was, but some villain gets beheaded, and like you can see the texture of the weird little like vampire or whatever the fuck it was. Maybe not Party City, but like I don't know. It didn't look like there was an actual head there.
Okay. Now, in terms of sound, I gotta say, I personally have never been more divided. I think the sound effects were cheesy at times. There was one in particular where I was like, bruh, come on, man. Like it was fairly cheesy. And I think it might have even been intended to be that way. But I ain't
Are
gonna
you
lie.
talking about the
Well, that was one where the crowd goes, "Party's over!" Oh, and I was like, "Ah, come on, bro."
It's the canned sigh that you all know.
But I will say, in terms of the soundtrack, though, I feel like there were low key some bangers on there. There was a pretty dope track at the party that's at Bella's house in the last one, and then there's also one or two cool songs that go down at the roller skating rink. So I was surprisingly pleased because I didn't expect those to come along. And what else do you think, Nico? Anything else you got to contribute there to add?
So one thing that was more charming than anything was, again, given that this is an indie, you're not getting some like A-list acting or anything. And to some extent, I think that's part of the fun of watching these kinds of movies, because boy howdy, it's a trip. Some of the dialogue between these characters like could not be more forced, and in a like, I don't want to say ironic sense, but in almost like an appreciation for the camp aspect of it. It was enjoyable, but even still, like, especially in the first one, that was... I've seen community theater better than that. And not to shit on community theater, but like... Boy howdy, every line in that one was sure delivered with some kind of weird gleam in their voice that just sounded like they were speaking in an infomercial, huh?
Bro, you
Can't
thought that
piss
about
on
the first...
hospitality. Very reminiscent of that.
I'm sorry.
that movie.
Sorry. True. Very, very good point there, Pirate Dan, Pegleg Dan.
It's funny because you say that about the first. I feel that way about the fifth and the fourth. I thought the first had the best of almost everything, pretty much. But
I feel the opposite, but that's okay.
well, I think the person who's going to sail in here and plunder what's left is Dan. What'd you think about the sounds?
Well, I have to agree with what you said earlier, lad. I thought there were some great shanties in this one. And I realize now that pirates do not use synthesizers. But shanty
They should.
means synthesizers in this context.
Okay.
But it was very reminiscent, a little bit very reminiscent of John Carpenter and Michael Jackson as well. I got some Beat It in there.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
The soundtrack was banging. or bussin', as they say these days.
Got to be careful where you bust these days. But I agree. So I want to talk a little bit about these movies as a compilation. And we kind of know the answer, but on this podcast, we reviewed a couple compilation movies. You know, we've got Ghost Stories, we've got Trick or Treat, and we also have A Christmas Horror Story. So we've done some anthology, some compilations. Do you think that these stories are like random story? Quiet End, there's another one. Do you think that these stories are random and thrown together, or do they have any kind of string running through them? Do you think that these make sense together in a compilation outside of being randomly thrown together?
I think thematically, there's not very much cling material, I guess you could say, or like connective tissue rather, not cling material. The fuck am I talking about? But there's not very much connective tissue between the two, except, with 5, wow. I'm getting over a cold. I'm kind of a mess right now. Please forgive any nonsense that comes out of my mouth more than normal. But regardless, I think that there is a very loose, spooky stuff happening. But that's like, by extension, every horror movie. So, no, there's not very much holding them all together.
Dan, is there any path that you can chart through these, or is it just muddy waters?
I thought it was mostly muddy waters. However, that being said, I think that the production value is what tied them all together. They had very similar acting, very similar synthesizer shanties.
That's very
fair.
Similar
look and everything. And while thematically they may not have necessarily worked too well together, I think that the production is what tied them all together.
Agreed. And for me, I kind of think that, like you said, it's not like Trick or Treat where we have a unifying factor that is in every single one of them. But I will say that I kind of sort of think that just as hey, it's Halloween time, let's throw this on and watch it, I thought it was good in terms of a compilation of what are essentially horror shorts. They range from anywhere from like 15 to 20-ish minutes. So, yeah, I'd say so. And Nico, to go on a point that you said earlier, it's obviously our Halloween episode. This movie is obviously meant to be like a Halloween movie, something you throw on and kick back. How do you guys think about this movie in terms of just throw it on, just spooky season, watch this movie late at night? Does it sit any different in that way?
I think if you are purposefully trying to find some lesser known stuff, then this could fill that niche. But otherwise, I think that it's perhaps not as deserving as some of the others who more rightly sit on their laurels in this category.
I'm inclined to agree with Captain Nico.
Aye, Brother Dan.
I do not see myself watching this on Halloween night, because I feel that the production value was not quite high enough for me to enjoy on the most holiest of Halloween nights. However, that being said, I think it is a good Halloween spirit for all you landlubbers out there that like to enjoy spooky movies in the spirit of Halloween.
Okay. Well said. I have to agree with both of you. Now, we're going to get to what I like to call the freeform part of this discussion. So there's a lot of shit that goes down in this movie, in these stories, that I feel like we just got to bring up. We just got to talk through some of the wild shit. So I'm going to lead with this, which is possibly one of the wildest lines I've ever heard uttered in a horror movie.
Thank God you're breaking it up.
So this is the one with the roller skating rink. And before the girl leaves the house, the mom is like telling her about like Clint or Clive, whatever his name is, her boyfriend. And then she goes, "You're going to have an AIDS baby with Clive and then wind up on Dr. Phil." And I was like, yo, what?
You can't just fucking drop an atomic bomb like that out of nowhere. You can't do that.
That line definitely shivered me timbers. That threw me off. I just about shit myself. I don't know. I couldn't think of any other pun.
No, I mean, and then she had the little kid running around with his like voice synthesizer going like AIDS baby, AIDS baby. And he goes to the roller skating rink and walks up to, again, his name is Clint or Clive, I forget which. And he goes, AIDS baby. And the dude's like, what the fuck did you just say? Like, it was like, yo, what the hell?
The part that got me on that film was the ending, because there was a plot twist where the killer was actually the main girl's mother. But then wait, another plot twist. The little kid is actually a fucking alien. What?
Avast! Could not agree more, Captain Dan. You've got it right there. There's some sort of narrative scurvy of a wreck with this one, mate.
So, Nico, are there any other wild moments that jumped out to you?
I have to bring this up. The farmer's costume looks so goddamn cowboy. I keep fucking saying this. The cowboy costume looks so fucking silly. Compared to literally everything else in this movie. Like, it looks as if someone stretched out a plushie almost, with the way that it looks like the eyes were made with like paper plates or something. It's just very tonally discordant with everything. And I cannot emphasize how much this is not a hyperbole. Literally every time it was on screen, I just could not stop giggling. And that is perhaps not what they were going for, but man, what a genuine delight.
I mean, hey, maybe it is, because from my perspective, so peek behind the curtain, dear listener. Sometimes when these movies are pretty well known, I can just reference a synopsis or something online. When I'm writing our episode preview, I can just double reference one of those. But because for this movie, there are no really good synopses available online that I could find, I sat down and I had to take pretty detailed notes about all of these different stories. And when I first saw the cowboy, I literally wrote evil Muppet ? Because I didn't know. Like, I was like, wait, what? Because I had no idea what was going on when I saw that for the first time. So definitely out there, 1,000% out there for real. Do you guys have any other kind of wild things? I have two things I want to bring up.
I feel like the chick in the first story didn't try just taking a trip to see the Hat Man and just guzzling Benadryl. Because I guarantee you that shit'll work.
So you might have found another method for sleep. Now, Pirate Dan, I don't want to chart your course for you, but the director of the last movie, Rocky Gray, he occupies, there's a special place because of something he's done musically. What is that?
So, Rocky Gray, you scallywag. You, my friend. You were the drummer in one of my favorite bands. You make good shanties. You were the drummer in Evanescence.
Yes.
You did not write one of my favorite albums of all time, Fallen. However, you were the touring drummer. You shantied on the road, on the sea, possibly.
Very respectable.
And then for the subsequent album, An Open Door. But Fallen and your tour, your playing on tour was incredible. You are still one of my favorite drummers. However, that being said, you might have to walk the plank for this film, Rocky.
Oh no! Is he going to be swimming with the fishes in this one?
I don't know. He's been in some pretty wild bands. I'm going to just leave it at that. You can look up a list of the bands that Rocky Gray's
give
been
us
in.
3, Justin. Would you grace us with just 3? Dealer's choice.
Dealer's choice, you say? I'd probably have to go with Shredded Corpse is one. There's another one called Pain God, which later, because I think Pain God might have been not hardcore enough, so they later were known as Flesh Compressor.
Wow.
There's Seminal Death, which, I mean, yeah.
Now, is that seminal with, and I need to be exact, is this second vowel an E or an I?
I.
Okay. Fair.
And I don't know why, but for some reason I find the name 3 for sorrow kind of like emo, but it was right around 2005, so come on. That sounds like something that would have been there at that point in time.
Rocky, you son of a biscuit eater. You go hard in the fucking paint on those names.
3 for sorrow, 2 for tomorrow, 1 for me, none for you.
Could have said the.
Damn.
The other thing I want to bring up, so the plots in some of these, and this is where I have a little bit of a problem with the movie, and I'll talk more about it on the criticism side, but the Santa Claus thing. What the fuck? What the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
This is a Halloween movie, and then Santa Claus is like, yo, fuck Halloween because it's corrupting all the good kids. And then he just takes the kid and leaves.
So I thought Santa Claus was going to do some weird, inappropriate shit with the young boy.
Yeah.
And I would have
Oh,
had
God.
to take him to the briny deep if it went that way. Fortunately,
Right.
he just left. And
Yeah.
that was the end.
So, I don't know, but this movie has some wild ass moments. And I didn't even start talking about the hag titties, but this movie has some wild ass moments. So, we'll have to move on. And let me ask, to kind of begin to wrap this up now, what was your favorite of the 5? And which one, in the pirate's words, would you send to the murky depths?
My favorite was Killing the Dance by John William Holt. And the one that I am sending to meet Father Poseidon is, in fact, The Old Hag.
Okay. For me, I would have to say my favorite one personally is Trespassers. And then the one that I'm going to send to Walk the Plank, it's got to be the Halloween Blizzard of 91, because that didn't make no sense.
It really fucking didn't. Like, the tonal discordance there, it would be akin to, I don't know, Shrek showing up an alien. The way that suddenly it's just like, ho ho ho, bitch, I'm here.
Xenomorphs do have layers, just like onions and ogres.
Yes.
She's got me there.
Little known fact.
But I mean, like, there's literally a scene. Now, keep in mind, these stories don't have a ton of runtime. So you got to use your time effectively. And they had time for a random scene where, like, the husband comes out and his sister-in-law's there, and she just casually walks out in, like, some kind of, you know, tank top and like, I guess her underwear. And he's like, oh, like, what I see. Oh. And then, like, I'm like, do we have time for this? Do we really have
No.
Santa Claus is kidnapping your kid? Do you have time for this?
No, and I wish he would get scurvy for that.
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird. But regardless, Pirate Dan, what's your favorite? What's your least favorite?
My favorite was Killing the Dance. That one was full of roller rinks, which was interesting and fun. But it was really the very end plot twist where the kid is an alien that really fucked me up. And I enjoyed it. So much that I took out my cellular device and I called Justin and I told him about my experience. And that he had something to look forward to. My least favorite, I agree with Justin, was the Halloween Blizzard of 91. That shit made no sense.
So now I want to take it to the what would you do? And this is going to be pretty simple.
Donkey, why are you in a spacesuit?
Of these 5 tales of terror,
Now, Shrek, you know there's a xenomorph down that hallway. Don't you go down there.
Donkey.
Donkey, I'm not going to go down the hallway, donkey.
Hey. Avast. Donkey. Shiver me timbers. You old sea dog.
Oh, it's Pirate Dan over there. He's coming to share in our adventure aboard the Nostromo, donkey.
Don't run a rig on me.
Puss in Boots, Fiona's outside and she wants to be let in.
Aye, that wench.
No, Donkey, I can't. It's against the protocol.
We cannot
Let her
break
in.
quarantine, lad.
Enough of this. Enough of this. It's gone too far. So for the what would you do, plain and simple, which of these 5 stories could you see us getting involved in a regular day or a regular Halloween for us? Which of these 5 stories could you see us getting involved in? And then how would we get out of it?
Sure as hell not the last one with the Ouija board. We stay away
No.
from that shit.
Yeah, straight up. I feel like we also, per our review of Haunt, would avoid trespassers just because, like, I cannot see a single member of this trio being like, hey, yo, the other 2 of you want to go to a literal fucking murder house? Like, nah, hard pass from all of us here, dog.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. I was going to say for me, I think the one that would probably be the most likely would be the old hag. Just because I could see us being like, oh, like we're heading out to like a podcast convention or we're doing something and we got to stay at like an inn. I could see that happening. But then like, or heading out to watch a show or something, I don't know. But then as soon as it's like, Dan's like, bro, I seen this fucking witch in this house. I feel like the innkeeper would be like, stay the night. And we'd be like, nah, we got to go.
Yeah.
Sorry, we got to go.
I don't care how tired I am, I will keep fucking driving.
Yeah, we'll take shifts or something, bro. But like, there's no way because the DOTD policy is if one of us sees some like supernatural shit, we all got to bounce, bro. I'm sorry. Like, it's not going down like that.
100%.
So what do you think? Do you think it would be the old hag as well, or do you have a different one?
See, I feel like if we were just chilling at like a mall and there happened to be like a roller rink inside and there was this goofy ass Kermit the Frog looking ass farmer who pulled out a barber straight razor, I feel like we could honestly... Cowboy, I keep fucking doing this, huh? Wow. Well, at least I'm fucking consistent. What can I say? I feel like we would just easily stomp the fuck out of this dude. Or excuse me, this mother. So that makes me feel a little bad now that I say that. But like, honestly, you're on wheels. Just use your fucking body weight and tackle her.
Yeah, I don't know how she did all that with just a razor.
Yeah.
You see, if I were in that one, I have sea legs. I do not have roller rink legs. I would be flopping all over the floor.
Understood.
But
understandable.
I do agree with, I think Justin said this, that the first one in the bed and breakfast would be the one that I think we would fall into, but for different reasons. Because back in ye old days, Justin had a saying, well,
Those
I guess
olden
we
days.
probably all did, that as we walked the neighborhood on land,
Oh no.
Oh,
no.
and we would see a nice house, we would exclaim that we would get jolly with a wench in that house if it was a nice house. So I think we would be getting jolly with a wench in a house. And then, oh no, there's an older wench. That wench is scary. And then antics would ensue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Indeed. So I guess with that being said, it's time for the critical review. And I want you guys to think really hard because there is no Rotten Tomatoes score for this one, but there is a score on IMDb and it's blank. Not going to say it yet. Not till I get your numbers. Where do you think this movie lies?
All right. So this movie's 1031. 10 plus 31 is 41. That's my guess. So 4.1 out of 41 out of 100.
No,
4.1
41.
out of
I'm going to
10.
move the decimal point.
Okay.
I think that this movie got to 27.
Well, once again, Nico has called upon numerology to get it right, but it's got a 4.7 out of 10, so that's 47 out of 100.
Okay.
So, Nico, you win.
Okay.
Once
okay.
again.
I'd be curious to see a spread of the wins and losses over the episodes.
You have a pretty solid advantage in the wins, I'd say.
You would have lots of loot from all of your wins.
Sounds good to me.
So what I really want to know, though, is what is your rating of this movie? What do you think?
It's not good. It's not atrocious, and there is merit to it. I'm trying to be perhaps more gentle than I could, given that this is an indie joint. So I am gonna give this a 59. I feel like that if you are one for perhaps more campy affairs or ironic enjoyment, perhaps, and you really love anthologies or compilations, then this could be your bag, but don't get it twisted. This is not great. I don't know that I would even call it good, but 59 is about where I feel comfortable landing it without being, for once on this podcast, too harsh.
I did not particularly enjoy this one. I thought, even though it was indie, there are things that could have been better that do not require money or a budget. Dialogue, acting could have been a little bit better. However, it is indie, so I do understand a little bit. But I think that with a generous helping of grog, and you get 3 sheets to the wind with your mateys, and just have a jolly good time, it could be enjoyable. I would say this would get a 45 from me.
I'm perhaps the easiest of our pack of sea dogs here, and I do think that I would give this one a 60. There are definitely a lot of places that it could be improved, and I think for me the biggest thing is I like the plots to make sense, and the plots do not make sense. At a certain point in time, it just kind of felt like shit was just happening to happen, and I'm like, okay. Like when that happens, I kind of sort of lose interest a little bit. So a 60 for me, not the worst thing I've seen by any stretch. And again, like if you want to see something eclectic, something not super well known for this, Halloween season, sure, add it in. But definitely not something that I'll be going back to as a source of Halloween fun. I think there's a lot better out there. And with that being said, it's not going to get the recommendation from your boy. But what you guys are giving it?
Nah.
Nay.
Yeah. So this one is not going to get the recommendation from Don't Open That Door. So there's no other awards or anything else that it would get. But with that being said, if you agree or if you disagree with us, hit us up. We're on Instagram and X at DOTD Horror. We're also on Facebook. That is, of course, Don't Open That Door. Plus, you can check everything we've done on our website, which is dotdhorror.com. But till then, keep yourself safe. Have an amazing, wonderful Halloween night. And as always, dear listener, don't open that door. Bye.
And remember, dear listeners, dead men tell no tales.
Ho, ho, ho. I guess.
Santa Claus was in it. Shut the fuck up.